Hello, my name is Adrienne Lee of Adrienne Lee Joywork, and this is your Moonday Message for the week beginning with June 29th, 2020, and leading us all the way through the beginning first week of July. And this week, we are ending this weekend with another full moon and the third and final eclipse of our eclipse portal for this month. And we are also having a partial lunar eclipse that evening as well. And it is also July 4th weekend. So we have a lot of energies conspiring and co-creating an interesting medley of sensations that are available for us this week. So I had 3 cards that came forward to support us in knowing where we should focus our energy and what may be coming at us this week. And I don't know about you, but I am definitely physically feeling the effects of what we are moving towards, a sense of exhaustion and slowing down and feeling ungrounded. And so the cards that came to explain perhaps what I and others of us might be feeling in our bodies this week. The first one is the 5 of Wands. And the 5 of Wands speaks to, as you can see in this picture, really having a lot of things that we're trying to balance, but not having a good foundation underneath us, not having our feet firmly on the ground, really feeling as though even though we are doing our best, showing up in the ways that we can, attending to our responsibilities, our home lives, trying to keep everything in balance. The energy this week is a sense of just not feeling balance, feeling like everything was simpler a month ago. Even with the stress, even with the complexity, we are engaging in more activity perhaps. We're having more invitations come in, more questions of whether or not we will engage in certain social situations. The 5 of Wands simply speaks to wanting to do it all and not really having enough time or energy or space to do it. Really feeling like we're in that juggling act and not having both feet firmly on the ground. So that's the main energy that is present for us this week, this very airy, I don't like the word spacey, but just this quality of feeling distracted. This week has an energy and possibility of being very distracting in the amount of information that is coming our way. And concurrently with that energy, we are also experiencing 8 of Cups. And Cups is the element of water. It represents our emotional body. It represents the feeling realm. And this card in particular is a card of no longer reminiscing, no longer looking at the past, no longer wishing that things could be the way they were, but slowly beginning to take the steps forward to go over the horizon, to leave what is past in the past and step forward into the new reality, into the new paradigm, into the new what is. This card can speak to having these elements of looking over our shoulder, looking back at the one cup still standing, having this intense feeling like things can be the way they were if we try hard enough, if we wish hard enough, if we desire or long hard enough, we can somehow go back to the way things were. But that is simply not true. The only constant in our world is change. Nothing ever truly goes back to the way it was before. All we have is this moment, this instant, this iteration of ourselves and our paradigm. And then it changes 5 minutes from now, and again 5 minutes from now. There is really no past to go back to. The past is good for us to learn from, to see patterns which did not serve us, both in the microcosm of our personal life as well as the macrocosm of our cultural life, our community existence, our governments, our bigger institutions. And for that reason, it's really good to look to history so that we can not repeat mistakes or choices that did not serve us in the long run. But other than that, the past is the past. We can't go back to it. And it's not better or worse than what we have in this moment. What we have is this moment. And so the energy for this week is going to be this dichotomy of so many things calling us into action, calling us forward, looking for our attention. And we may also be reminiscing, feeling wistful, looking backwards, wanting things to be a different way than they are, and having some feelings about that, having some sensations in the emotional body. Nothing good or bad about these things. It's no problem. There's no judgments present with either of these energies. It's simply what is. And our job is to show up and figure out how we navigate these energies in a way that feels in integrity and in alignment. And the card that came forward to support that alignment and integrity, I asked, what should we collectively focus on in order to find our feet on the ground, find ourselves focused, find ourselves back in the body as we are navigating this challenging terrain this week? And the card that came forward is the Nine of Pentacles. And Nine of Pentacles is the card of sacred work, sacred service. It's the card of finding what our unique contribution is and really investing ourselves in that, really focusing our energy, our life force into that contribution, knowing that in feeding the community will feed us. It is this reciprocal nature of give and take, back and forth, in which all people can rise up because we are all being supported and supporting each other. And so I am reading this card as a sacred invitation to all of us to really feel in and decide what is our unique individual role in the co-creation of what is coming forward in our lives and in our communities at this time. We're still navigating COVID-19. We're still in the very beginning of Black Lives Matter and continuing to make those changes in our communities and governments and social structures. And these changes are going to take some time to come. And the process of reshaping our systematic way of living in our communities, in our country, is going to take some time to unfold and unravel. This COVID-19 situation is going to take some time to unravel. And we as a community and as a collective have to find our own sacred point of view. Where do we find ourselves on the spectrum of really big fear versus not taking things into account at all? Where do we find ourselves? What is our truth? Where do we live in response to all of these things that are happening around us? And as those are happening, we also have the nuance and layers of possible unemployment. We have the possibility of no school and our children being affected. We have the angst and divisiveness occurring between families and friends based on political beliefs. There's just a lot up in the air right now. And before we can begin collectively to find common ground and find a space where we are meeting everyone's needs, we each individually first must truly determine what our beliefs and needs are, what our boundaries are, what our point of view is, so that we can offer it to those around us with respect and kindness. It's always an inside job first. And this week, the energy is really high for us to step into that inner work, that inner release work, as we are taking on new things. We are only animals after all, and we can only hold so much. So what are we letting go? What are we releasing? What are we shedding? And what are we inviting in as we step toward this full moon, as we step towards the end of eclipse season, as we are taking in all the stimulus around us? The first job and the first point of reference is in finding our own feet, embodying. And once we do that, then we can come into integrity and alignment and step forward in a way that is of service to ourselves and everyone else. And the stone that came forward to support us this week is pyrite in the pyramid form. Pyrite is the stone of strength and tenacity. It's the stone of sunshine. It is the stone of tapping into our own internal resilience. And the pyramid shape in particular speaks to having our boundaries, having our own clear boundaries, while still also recognizing our unique point of view, and that it is very important. We have to have our unique point of view. From that point of view, we determine what our personal boundaries are, and in doing so, it gives us our firm foundation so that we can show up in the world exactly as we are, authentically, and get our needs met and be of service. That's the invitation this week, my friends, to really do the inner work so we can keep showing up. Because this is a long haul that we're in, a lot of change is afoot, and we need to tend. There's a lot of tending that will have to happen as we continue on this path. I hope this message serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need and that you can take some time this week to tune in, to have some radical rest, and to really analyze your beliefs. What do you believe about July 4th? What do you believe about this idea of freedom? What do you believe about this idea of the United States? What do you believe about COVID-19? What do you believe about safety and security? These are all really juicy, deep questions that will help each of us figure out where our feet are on this planet. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week.